Push a button.
Hi, Mike.
I'm Mark.
Hey, Larry. How are you doing?
Any day now, Schultz.
Ray Chris is live.
You know he did the same to us.
On my end, obviously. Are you on Wi-Fi too?
I have to be.
Yeah, duh. Sorry. We don't have to be. Why it's buffering?
Oh, there's nothing on here. I can't.
Frustrating. That
I
frustrates
guess I
me.
really don't have to be.
You don't have to be. I mean,
My phone I do, but
this is not what I wanted to start out my show tonight. I'm just playing over a regular video too. This is why we moved offices.
yeah.
You think we?
That's
I need
sure
to go out
working
to
good,
the-
Jason. God love. That's
Yeah,
sure
it's-
working good, Jason.
I know. I need to move out to the country so I have better internet. I had good intentions, but we know how that goes. You know what
All
I'm saying?
kinds of
There's
sounds.
Donnie.
Sounds great.
It's all good. It's all good in the hood. Let's just fire. Let's just fire.
Here
some
we are
baby.
on West Pullers.
These guys go, hey, Larry, do that thing, and then Mike, you say something, and then I play the video. That's
Do
always
what
fun. I
thing?
like, well, you say it now. Well,
Oh, and now, live on the air, it's Let's Grow Pulling with Jason Schultz and Associates.
Mike, and you say, are you serious? Say it, Mike.
Are you serious? Are we live?
Beer Money Pulling Team.
Well, I had this great grandeur. I was going to play this awesome opening video, guys, tonight of the mods from TPC last year, but my internet's not working like the way it looked, like I wanted it to be. So, Lori's home from California. Why don't we have Donnie Reeve on yet? You don't know? You can't. Was it your turn to babysit him or what?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Welcome everybody to Let's Grow Pulling Monday, April 22nd. My name is Jason Schultz. I got the great Kenzie Teething here with me in the studio.
Hello.
Larry Richwine. Larry, how are things in Indiana, buddy?
Things are great. At least it's not raining yet, but it is going to be 70 degrees again tomorrow. It was 32 this morning. A little bit chilly.
Yeah. Yes, Colin. I just felt ambitious. I was going to play a video, but my video didn't play, so we just went into the show. So yeah. And Shorefightly checking in from Nashville, Illinois, checking in there. Mike Idle, how are you, sir? How's everything in Missouri?
We are doing awesome. I am finally awake for the first time all day. I've been in a fog and making mistakes left and right, but I'm on my A game and we're ready to go. And I'm fired up to talk to some California truck pullers. And I know that they're excited to come hang out in Nashville, Illinois with us in less than a month. So let's get after it, boys.
Yes, the next 3 or 4 Mondays are going to be very, very Pullers Championship focused.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a big event. We are going to have Clint Medding on one night as well. Talk about Nordheim, Texas, which is the same weekend as the Pullers Championship. Before we started the Pullers Championship, I always went down to Nordheim, Texas to Clint's pull that weekend to have him on here. But tonight, got our friends on from the West Coast. Chris Daniels lives in Nevada. John lives in California. Donnie Reeve hopefully will make it on here as well. I know Chandler said earlier that he did there. But Chris, why don't you go first? Tell us who you are, and then we'll just start to ask you questions, and then we'll move over to our buddy John Boer. First of all, Chris, your social media is blowing up with that sexy baby Huey. I saw one of your videos has 500,000 views. So
yeah, my wife's all over that. Boy, she's
you need to keep Kimmy around. You need to keep Kimmy around.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, she's in charge of social media and towing me around and pumping up the oil pressure, just all kinds of stuff. Tire pressure. She's a cook
tech guy.
He even drives once in a while. Yes.
Better driver.
Yeah.
That's
That's out for vote, but yes.
So Chris, how did you get started in pulling, Mr. Daniels?
So I started in '86 in California, actually. I had the truck. By the way, the Baby Huey is the same truck. The first truck I ever bought when I was out of high school, and it was a 2-wheel drive. And I turned it into a 4-wheel drive, and my buddy said, "Hey, let's go truck pulling." And I'm like, "What is that?" So we went to Plymouth, California, and been hooked ever since.
Yep. So this is Baby Huey as it sits today, right, Chris?
No, but
no.
Close.
How old is this picture?
So that's when we lived in Fallon, and that was right after I got done painting it.
Okay.
So I was what year was that? 19. Yeah, 2008.
Truck. Good luck.
So does it still look like that today, or is it all blue now, Chris?
No, it still looks like that.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, just small changes, not the major.
Well, that's fine. So there's a good looking truck. So that truck, I saw your Facebook or your TikTok or something, and it was going viral. Chris.
Yeah.
So that truck that's what you fans are going to see in Nashville, Illinois, Friday, May 17th, Saturday, May 18th, whether you're there in person or whether you're there on the live stream. And I do want to touch on the live stream. The live stream's easy to find. Go to thepullerschampionship.com, click on the live stream button in the upper right corner, and you'll be able to tune in here with us a little bit. So, Chris, what was your first win?
First win?
First win.
In Pro Mod or in when I started in like stock?
Just your first win in pulling.
First win, I would say Plymouth, California.
Okay. What class would that have been in, Chris?
Probably stock or super stock, one of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
400. 400?
Yeah.
What's your favorite pull, and why is it your favorite pull, Chris?
That's probably this TPC. I've never been, but I heard it's fantastic.
You don't have to suck up to us, Chris. You already got.
Yeah, you've already made the show. You're here. You're good.
But I like his answer. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of favorite ones. Chow Chow's coming up. It's a good one. Donnie used to have a show in Clements that I really liked. It was a 2-day show. Sublimity is always a good one, a really good one. Just anywhere we can have a really good crowd and a good turnout and a good competition. That's probably my favorite.
Who helped Chris Daniels get to where he is today with truck pulling?
Donnie Reeve. That's one of them. Yep. He started.
One of many, I'm sure.
Yeah, one of many, but yeah, he's one. But mainly friends and family. I mean, they just pitch in whenever and help, and we just keep pushing forward and making it better. And I mean, we're still a short wheelbase, and I've been told a million times when you're going to lengthen that thing, and I just got it working the way it is, and I'm afraid to change it, to be honest with you. I say it won't fit on the trailer if I make it long, So, but Yeah, mainly my stepfather had a lot to do with it. My dad as well. Just my grandpa, before he passed, he helped big time. And so just like I say, a lot of friends and family and help, and we try to give it back whenever we can, you know.
Awesome. And why is your truck called Baby Huey, Chris?
So years ago when I first started pulling, I drove my truck to work. I was a heavy equipment operator, and the guys at work always used to call me Baby Huey because I kind of walk like a duck. So so I said, okay, well, that's what I'll name my truck. So when we went to the first truck pull, I called it the Baby Huey Special, and it just kind of stuck from there. I dropped the special, of course, and just been Baby Huey ever since.
So you need to buy 2 more trucks then, so we can have Dewey and Louie, right? And you can just have a 3-truck team.
Yeah, that's a little different duck. If you know anything about Baby Huey, he's like a big old. In fact, I got a picture.
Get it down.
Yeah, I am. It's a big old autistic duck. that is.
I was way off.
Yeah, he's like super strong. He has superpowers, and so that's why I go with that. But now, like if you see in my truck and shirts and stuff, the duck's all muscle bound now. You know.
Yeah, there you go.
So he hit the gym, and we're good to go now. So,
Larry,
That is pure
Larry,
gold.
Yeah.
I want Larry to ask Chris a question. Larry, you go ahead, Larry.
oh boy,
Is your truck ready to pass tech?
yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I've already asked to check all 3 of you from out west
Yeah, go for it.
personally. And
Yeah.
I am a real
Oh, yeah, I heard about you.
I
Mike-
haven't heard real what.
Mike, do you have a question?
I do. So mine's a perfect springboard off of what Larry's talking about right here. Mine's kind of a fan question. So when you look at this truck, beautiful looking truck, but it does, to the untrained eye, to the casual fan, it does look like it's got a shorter wheelbase.
Mhm.
Are you, and I don't know, I could just be misperceiving this. Larry, I'll start with you, and then I'll jump back over here to Chris. Larry, what's the wheelbase on a typical mod 4-wheel drive that we're running here in the Midwest? Not the super mods where they let them kick the rear end way out, but what is the wheelbase on our trucks around here?
133-inch limit.
And so, Chris, are you at that 133, or are you shorter than that?
We're at 116.
Wow.
So how do you feel that is going to come into play, if at all, when you come pull in Illinois here in about a month or so?
Not much.
My hitch is closer to my rear end than those guys. So, I mean,
Sounds like a personal issue, but hey.
And is that wheelbase, is that what you guys run in the leagues that you pull out west? Are you maxed out for what you can run there?
yeah, we can run anything, but not over 133.
Right.
Okay, so you're running the same as us. Your just personal setup hasn't kicked it out that far.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He
Perfect.
needs
Cool.
a longer trailer, he said, didn't he?
Yeah,
well, there you go.
Yeah. So,
Now I got a quick question for Schultz. Is Gene Dunn going to be there this year?
Yes, he is.
Because Gene and Chris have something in common.
oh,
They both arm wrestle?
Uh-huh.
Are you an arm wrestling champ, Chris?
yeah, it was. Yeah.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but we did pretty good. Yeah, I got a bunch of trophies over here, but yeah, back when I felt like it.
That'd be awesome. Well, yeah, we will get together. Oh, and then here, who's it? Well, everybody, round of applause for Matt Hart. Welcome to
Hey,
the
we made it.
podcast. One of our co-hosts, Matt. How are you feeling tonight?
Hey, I'm good. I didn't burn my shop down, so life is good. And spring is in the air. I tell you, we're excited to go. So I'm looking forward to this episode. We got a lot of great guests and pretty awesome. Getting excited for the Pullers Championship, right?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Are you gonna be able to come down, or you got something going on that weekend?
I'm supposed to have like 2 or 3 sales, but I think one I might be able to get off. So if I can sneak down, I'm told I have somewhere to stay, and that's right there. And I'd love to do that. So I'm going to try.
That seems like it would be within your control. Just don't bid it out. $1 bidder now, 2 sold. All right, to the next item. Can't we just, don't you have some say in how quickly those things happen?
Yeah, I'm pretty fast. It's just a matter of getting through traffic once you're done with that and hoping to get hired back the next time. But
Just
yeah, I like
as
your
soon as
style.
the hand raises, hit the gavel. We got places to be. It's sold.
That's right. I think that's a good idea.
Matt, I need you to read what Tyler Slaw said on the screen. If Hope Bindle, our general manager, is watching, this is our next T-shirt. Please read that.
Okay, yeah, definitely no hope. So being a few inches shorter just means you got to work a little harder at it. That is Tyler Slaw quote. I'm going to use that when I see him. I love it.
Tyler Slaw.
This coming from a true guy. Yeah.
I jump in and we're talking about the motion of the ocean already. Boy, what a rendition. Here we are. He ain't pretty, folks, but he can charm them, you know.
I want to have a few drinks with Matt to see if alcohol affects his Hollywood voice. Matt?
A couple of you guys could attest to that. It does. That bourbon makes it a little deeper, and I start getting bigger ideas. So
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's because why alcohol? Because no good story started with somebody eating a salad. I actually have that T-shirt.
Right.
So it's all good. So, well, let's move on here. I'm going to bring on our 4-wheel drive truck sponsor of the Pullers Championship, Donnie Reeve. Reeve Trucking. I see you. Let's have a big round of applause. Donnie, how are you, buddy?
Good. Getting excited.
If you follow Donnie Reeve on Facebook, his wife went on a 2-week cruise, and he weighed 372 pounds. Now he's down to what, 220, Donnie? What do we weigh?
Well, she's been back for 2 days, so we're about 20 back up.
Good, 20 back up. But Donnie, we had to Uber Eats. We all put some money together and had Uber Eats go to Donnie's ranch every single night. So.
That's right.
No, Donnie Reeve, all seriousness. I've been out to California now a couple times with Massetti and MLM Motorsports. Actually, 3 times now. Cal Poly got rained out. But I see Reeve Trucking sticker on every pulling vehicle on the sleds. Donnie, I know you're a big part of pulling out west. I know you've experienced a little bit with the mini rod out here and Bowling Green and your truck. But let's get into this a little bit. Donnie Reeve, how did you get started in pulling?
In 1979, I had just met Lori, and we were cruising around San Francisco. She was showing me her father's shop and the house she grew up in, and we went by the Cow Palace in San Francisco, in South San Francisco, and it said 4-wheel drive truck pull. And we thought about that for about 12 seconds and pulled in there with my 79 4-wheel drive Ford and went to our first truck pull. And that was the end of it for us. We've and not just me. We're both hooked on it. Been hooked on it. The very next weekend, we pulled at the Lodi Grape Festival in Lodi, California, small town south of Sacramento, and won first place in the stock class. And history was in the making. We've been pulling ever since. We did in our early years starting our company. We spent about 8 years in Southern California where there wasn't a whole lot of pulling. So we didn't pull a lot between 1980 and 1988, except for 2 or 3 times. One of the promoters from up north come down to Victorville, California, where we happened to live at the time, and put on a pull. And as soon as I heard that Dave Matthews was coming down to Southern California and putting on a pull, I got all excited. And I happened to have little rags here. My 84 Ford was still in a kind of a stock configuration down there. We did a lot of hill climbing, desert racing, and mud bogging. And I thought, I'm going to get this baby ready and go truck pulling again. Haven't been pulling in a few years. And I spent night back in those days. We worked pretty long hours, so I spent all my nights instead of sleeping. I getting a few upgrades done to old rags here, and it's my wife's fault. She brought me In-N-Out cheeseburgers about 2:00 in the morning and asked me to take a break, and I was in the middle of plumbing the manifold, and I had already cleaned the heads off and had all the old gaskets off, and I had laid a bunch of rags in the valley of the motor, and she interrupted me, made me eat hamburgers, and when I
Blame on Lori.
but it is her fault. She did it. Had she not showed up, I would have had a clean running truck, but I turned around. I was standing in the back of one 4-wheel drive truck because it was a pretty tall truck at the time, and I turned around and put the intake manifold on top of all them rags, and I finished it up about 5:00 in the morning and took it down the street and blew it up. So I had to pull the motor out and start all over, and we still got ready for the truck pull in Victorville, and we went out and won first place again. So
Nice.
we shortly after that we moved back to Northern California where we belong, and we've been pulling pretty regular ever since.
Nice. So this is Final Drive. I want to tell us a little about your truck that you're bringing out to the TPC, Donnie.
That truck is the frame on that truck, which is about all that was left of Terry Davis's hired gun or Young Guns truck, one of his early versions of it. We bought that truck and run it for 1 year. It's one of the trucks we brought to Bowling Green when we went there the first time in 2017, and we did pretty good with it. But it wasn't quite the way I wanted it, so we tore it all down and we hired old Randy up there at Performance Pros to build Spike a truck from the ground up. And while he was doing that, we remanufactured this truck, the chassis anyway, in our shop. And when they got done with Spike's truck up there, I took this chassis up to him and told him I wanted a body that would match Spike's body. So that's how the two white trucks come about. And I'm learning how to drive it.
Oh, good. It's all good.
Doing good at it.
How long have you been running that setup?
Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
No, you're fine.
Go ahead.
How long have you been running this new setup?
The new Final Drive truck, year and a half.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
This last season, and a little bit of the season before that.
Okay. Cool.
So where was your first win, Donnie? Do you remember your first win?
Lodi, California.
Is that still a town, or has it been boarded up?
It's not down. They're known more for grapes than they are truck pulling, but
Yeah.
Hey, grapes are good. I saw a lot of when I was out there last weekend. There was a lot of grapevines. So,
yeah.
What's your favorite place to pull and why, Donnie?
Well, I mean, I love every pull, and I guess the next one is my favorite, but and I'm really looking forward to this one. But I would say that probably the most memorable pull I've been to was Bowling Green in 2017, where Spike got on the podium out of all the trucks, and he took old Rags there and competed with the big boys and took a 4th place at Bowling Green in 2017. And we took a year off, and like an idiot, we bought a couple mini tractors, and we went back in 2019, and I got on the podium with my mini tractor out of like 60 guys. So we felt pretty lucky, and that's exactly what it was. It was pure luck because we had no idea what we were doing.
Well, you're doing something right, or you wouldn't have been on the podium.
That's what I was just thinking.
I did right was sell them things because they were going to kill me.
They are quite a ride. Yes,
they are quite a ride.
Let's go then.
I've had some really good ones. I made one in Whitewright, Texas that was orgasmic, and I've made a couple that were a disaster.
Donnie, yeah, have a sip of your drink. Take us through what an orgasmic ride feels like.
An orgasmic ride is when you put 30 foot on the class. Am I wrong?
No, I just want to know what that means to Donnie.
You are correct. You are correct, sir.
Correct. Very correct. Yep.
I love it. Who helped you get to where you are today, Donnie? In pulling.
Well, a lot of people that I went to for parts and knowledge, but I only have one sponsor, but I have to say they are very, very generous. And so Reeve Trucking Company is what enabled me to pull at the level that I've pulled in my life.
Nice.
Yes, they are.
I love it.
They help us all.
Reasons behind the name of the vehicle. Why is your truck called Final Drive, Donnie?
I don't know. When we were building 2 new trucks, and I had been thinking about it for months, and so was Spike. We were trying to come up with names and it was like within 4 hours on the same day he came up with his, and I thought that was pretty good. Traction Control, and which neither one of us have a whole lot to do with, but Final Drive just sounded good to me, and I never heard it that anyone else used it, and I'm old, so it's probably gonna be my final pull truck.
I like it. Let's see here. Has Donnie only pulled truck. Chuck Hobbs is answering, and the answer is no. Let's talk about your mini rods a little bit. I know Doug Worth is watching, and he loves those mini rods. Tyler Slaw, right there's a California Mule, Donnie. What possesses a sane man? It's like jumping out of an airplane to buy a mini rod. Where you drinking and you're like, what the hell? Or tell us a little bit more about it.
I wouldn't have any idea what possesses a sane man to do it, but what I did was I have a good friend in Robbie Fergundis, who is a culprit of all things ugly in the form of tractor pulling. He told me I did our little pull at Clements, California 7 times over the years, not consecutively, but
It's not little, by the way. It's a good pull.
and Robbie came to me and said, Donnie, we need to run minis at your pull, and it would be great if you came out there and drove one of our minis and made a pass, for all your fans and blah blah blah. And I thought, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And so I did that, and it was pretty fun. But we were in a sand pit there, and it wasn't Robbie's best tractor. So I thought that's a good time, and he wanted to promote the class in California, which it's been around a couple times and then died. And his hope was, since he had the sled, his hope was to bring it back in the West. And I thought, yeah, we'll do that. And so he built one for me. He told me what to buy. I bought it. And another big mistake that I made is I went back and met Steve Boyd there in Indiana. Is it Indiana or in Illinois?
Indiana.
And now that guy's a class act guy.
Yes, he
and
is.
All the people that work for him were.
Yep.
And they were in the process of dumping a dozen engines because they were going to try a dozen different engines. And
Right.
And I went there and met them and just awesome people and bought a motor from them, and then bought a blower from Mike Janis. And I did everything Robbie told me to do, and Robbie put the thing together, and we went out and had fun. And then I destroyed it. And then I wound up, this one you're showing here is Shannon Leisner, who built the motors for me. And he kind of directed me on what's good and what's bad. And we already had one to copy, because while I was back there buying a motor, Steve had his first mini that he had done, and it was sitting there for sale. And that was not good for me to see that. So that's how Spike got his tractor, that green one. I'm sure you guys have seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so in the end, this tractor and Spike's tractor were pretty much a matched pair. And we played with them for a while, but I just don't think I should be driving a mini tractor when I'm 70 years old. So I thought I'd sit in my nice big truck and do that instead. So we sold it.
What's the most glaring difference? Oh, you want to go ahead, Jason?
No, I just pointing this out. That's a truck. That's Donnie's pass at the Golden State Invitational this past November in Madera, California. For those of you wondered what that is, go ahead, Michael.
What's the most glaring difference? You talked about, you kind of drove the mini rod a little bit and sold it. Now you've got this new 4-wheel drive. What's the most glaring difference in driving style or just being on the track between driving a 4-wheel drive truck and a mini rod?
There's no comparison. They're about as different as they could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And a mini tractor's got twice the horsepower. It's a long ways from 1,600 to 3,000. And Shannon don't build nothing that don't have 3,000 horsepower or more.
No, he don't.
And it is absolutely amazing. A good pass is, like I said, it's just, there's nothing better, and a bad pass is a disaster and very expensive.
True. So is it more fun knowing that it sounds like basically the stakes are quite a bit higher? A bad pass becomes a bad pass pretty quickly in a mini rod. So when the good pass is orgasmic, as your words were, is it almost more fun to win in the mini, or is it more fun to win in the truck because that's kind of your tried and true and where your roots got it all started?
Winning is winning. Winning is the best, no matter what you're driving. I don't care if you're driving a stock truck or a 5-engine tractor. Winning is just the best part of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm certainly more comfortable in the 4-wheel drive. I've been doing it for 45 years. At certain times, I know what I'm doing. I've never made a pass in a mini tractor. I've only made maybe 25 passes in a mini tractor. And I've never one time been able to breathe for the first 10 feet. It doesn't, driving a mini tractor, I mean, and I'm speaking as an amateur. The professionals that do this all the time would probably tell you something different. But for me, I thought I was going to have a heart attack every time I had my hand on the throttle, and I went ahead and did it anyway. So I'm proud of myself.
Mhm.
But it feels like when you start opening the throttle on a mini tractor, to me, it was like everything in the world that could go wrong is happening right now, and I'm about to die. That's what I felt like for the first time. And then it's like going to heaven if it works.
Yeah.
Front end comes up, and if it comes up the right height, and you carry it the way you're supposed to carry it, and you don't have to touch a brake, there ain't nothing better. Well, there's maybe a couple things that are better. It's all good, especially when you go by that first place pylon on the side there.
Right.
Matt Hart, question for Donnie Reeve.
Yeah, well, I was going to comment quick because I saw Doug. He says you have time to eat a sandwich in the 4-wheel drive, Donnie. So that works out pretty good. A little different than the mini rod. So that answers that. What's the farthest you've gone with the truck in order to pull? So Nashville, Illinois, not too far from me, but it's a hell of a long ways for you. What's the biggest distance you've gone with the truck?
I want to think Bowling Green, if I remember right, was like 2,800 miles. And I think that was the farthest I've been to, and I'm not too good on geography in that part of the country. Goldendale, Wisconsin wasn't that far, or no, Ellsworth, Wisconsin, Goldendale. Where's Goldendale?
Washington.
Oh, that's up Washington. Yeah. I'd say Bowling Green, probably the farthest.
Probably.
If I remember
Very
right,
cool.
2,800 miles.
Yeah, worth the trip too, wasn't it?
It's fantastic because see, it's a double deal for me because I love to drive truck. I mean, that's my favorite thing in the whole world to do is drive truck. So
Yeah.
So we're going to come back to Donnie's questions here. I got some of you. We're going to go to John Boer next, but Kenzie's got that up there on the screen right now. And that's we really want to highlight and thank you guys for this commitment. And we've had partnerships, John, since year number 1, John, right? Bridgekeys came out with Carreras. Who came out last year from out west? Did anybody? Robbie did. Yep. With the minis. So, I mean, it's an awesome commitment. We're looking at I just put Madera, California, because that's really the only town I know because that's where Massetti lives. Sorry, guys. But it's 2,025 miles to Nashville, Illinois. So that's a commitment, fans, that John, Donnie, Chris, and then we have another puller coming from out west as well in the 4-wheel drive truck class. But that's a commitment they're taking to us, and it's just pretty awesome there. So, John Boer, I would like to say that you led the charge on this fan boat, buddy. It was pretty exciting to see what you had to do, and I've known you for quite a while now, John. How did you get started in pulling, bud?
I got started I'll go back a little bit. My dad used to pull back in the early 70s, mid 70s with his power wagon at Turlock County Fairgrounds before they started doing truck pulls in the arena. They would actually pull the big tractor sled. They hooked 3 trucks to the big tractor sled and pulled it out the arena. And that's how it really got started there. So when I was a little baby and stuff, they used to pull in there. And then we ran the arena at Turlock Fairgrounds when I was a kid. My grandparents did. So I was around the pulling and stuff in the arena all my childhood out there with Silver Streak and Wild Hair, Donnie with Rags, when I was growing up and seeing all these trucks and running around looking at them and stuff. And then when I was in high school, a buddy of mine, Jason Miller, and I decided that we're going to go truck pulling. So our senior year of high school, we decided we're going to go to the Gustine FFA pull, which is always on July 3rd of every year. It's been going on for 38 years. And we went out there and I'm going to catch flack for this by the two other guys on here, but I had a 1990 F250 Ford four-wheel drive with a 460 and a standard transmission. That's what I pulled.
Then he
And
bumped his head.
yeah, then I bumped my head. Thanks a lot, Chris. Went out there. We pulled street class. Back whenever you'd drive the trucks to the pool. You drive the trucks to the pool. Hope you don't break and drive home. And went out there and won the first pool and got hooked ever since. And then about 2002, I think my daughter was 2 years old, decided to get away from it for a little while. That's when the diesels were starting to come into it. And back then, the diesels were pulling against the gassers, and there was no controls on the diesel classes yet. And just decided, I'm going to bow out for a while. And then in 2010, my grandfather gave me Code 3, which was his Chief's pickup. It was actually a two-wheel drive, 1962 Dodge pickup that was the fire department's Chief's pickup. And we decided to start building it. And we ran the street class up until 2015 with it, with running a nice 440. And then in 2016, we decided to drop a 540 in it and run the super stock class for a couple of years. Had some issues in that class and decided, you know what? At that time in 2014, my brother had bought Third Dimension, which is an old pro mod from out here, and I really liked what I was seeing in the pro mod class, and we decided to, in January of 18, we decided to strip the truck all the way down to nothing, pull the body off, build a frame, build a new motor, and just went to town. And by the end of February, we had the frame built, body on, just waiting on the motor. In July 27th, Plymouth, California, we came out with the brand new, in 2018, came out with the brand new Code 3 with the frame.
And that's the truck that we see on the screen right there, John?
Yep. And back then, when we first came out with it, still had the 540 in it with on race gas with carburetor. We were the baby motor, and we actually still are the baby motor. But yeah, we came out with that, went to Plymouth, California. That whole pool was in my head is still a fog because we went out there and hooked to the sled. We were the second to last puller, pulled it out the gate, and won the class.
Awesome.
On its first hook. And it was just, it's been a steady upflow since then.
That's all.
No, that's good. I just love how you really, you were super adamant about the fan vote and working it, talking to Chris and everybody and different things like that, to really pull it off, John, to get going. How much money does somebody have to pay to be nice to Chris Daniels for over a couple of months and get him on the fan vote?
Ask Donnie, he knows.
Chris, the one thing, like you said, you were asking the other Jason, or asking Donnie and Chris, is, who helped you get started in this and everything else. And the one thing I'm going to say, and that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to help, and I called Donnie whenever we saw the top 20 come out, and I called Donnie, I said, you want to go? I'll really push, is because every one of these guys and gals that are in this class has helped me get to where I am now. And the camaraderie and the way my truck was built out of probably 20 different pro mods, buying all the old used parts and stuff like that. There was parts of Baby Huey, there's parts of Triple Throwdown, there's parts of Rags, there's parts of Young Guns, there's all these parts from different pull trucks over the years, and every single puller that's in our class has helped me get to where I'm at now. So awesome. That's my way of, if they wanted to go for it, then all right, we're going to push.
Well, you have to be the biggest cheerleader. You are. You not have to. You are the biggest cheerleader out there that got all this going, and it was exciting. It's good for our event as well, too. I mean, for that to come together like that. So you already talked about your first win. What are some of your favorite pulls, and why are they your favorite pulls, John?
Well, some of my favorite pulls, and I am going to say TPC, and my wife's going to get me there because, yes, it does take the family. And the family did help me get to where I'm at, too. My wife and my daughter really stood behind me on building everything that I've done since I started. My favorite pulls, I would say, is there's 3 different ones that I really enjoy. Is sublimity. And everybody I know doesn't. The track is a cruddy track for the one I'm going to say now, but it's my backyard, and I've always a lot of people that I know come and watch that Turlock Fair. That's always been like the granddaddy in California, so to speak. Everybody wants to go there, even though it's a track that is just
Sand pit.
good. But everybody always likes to go. And then when I came out to the TPC the first year of 22 with Jared, I feel that's a very good event. The camaraderie and getting to meet everybody out there that you see on the internet or you're friends with on Facebook, and you communicate back and forth that way, but you never have actually stood next to them. Perfect example is, and I'll never forget this because I'm friends with the guy to today, is like Jason comes up to me and says, "Hey, I got to introduce you to somebody." When we got back there, and I go, "Who's this?" He goes, "Ryan DeBrew." Okay, because we had so much in common. He's volunteer fire chief. I'm the volunteer fire chief, and shoot, next thing you know, we're sitting there talking for hours, and we were up till 3 o'clock in the morning drinking Crown and having a good time talking about not truck pull stuff, but fire department stuff. So, getting back there to see all these people that you see on the internet and you talk to on the internet, but you never get to see them face to face. And that was a very good, that's what I really like about TPC.
Well, it's fun because we bring all the associations together, John, and for you guys to really push as hard as you did from the West Coast to be part of it, it means a lot to me. And it's good that it'll be good to get Donnie out of California for a couple of days. I like that.
Heck yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is the fact that, the most common thing that we hear, and like when Chris and I and Gish do our show on Wednesday nights, is the common thing that we hear is, we didn't know you guys had that kind of caliber of pulling equipment on the West Coast. We just thought, it's palm trees, and Jason and I talked about this, palm trees and sand surfboards out here. Well, yeah, for the small sliver along the coastline, that's what it is. When you get inland in California and inland in Oregon, inland in Washington, and then you get into Nevada, it's just common farmer company owners and straight down roots people, no different than back there.
Rural America, right?
Yeah, rural America.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's
And
good.
that's a common factor in truck pulling.
I like the point you bring up about a lot of us do a lot of interaction, on the internet, and the world's becoming a smaller place, and we know each other on Facebook. But the Pullers Championship, located right in the heart of America, gives everyone a platform to, kind of go beyond the internet and to get to know each other. And I think that's an especially big deal for you guys out west, because it is such a destination pull. And I know you guys are incredibly gracious, and a lot of you guys have reached out to me and other members. So I think that's a really, really cool opportunity that it allows us, fans, drivers, anyone involved, that springboard to, shake a hand and put a face with a name. So I think you really hit the nail on the head when you brought that up too. And that's a unique opportunity that the Pullers Championship creates for everybody involved.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
John, name of the truck for obvious. I mean, I know what it is, but why is it called Code 3?
So Code 3, it stands for Lights and Sirens Responding to a Call. And we were in the shop when we were building it, and we're sitting there.
Lights and Sirens. John, Larry's smoking. John, fire. Larry's on fire. Code 3. Code 3. Sorry, I had
So
to.
we were sitting in the shop, and pager went off for a fire call, and it said for us to respond code 3 to such and such address, blah blah blah. And it just sort of just dinged. Jason Miller and I were in the shop. We were working on the truck, and it's like, there it is. It's the Chief's truck.
Mhm.
Code 3 fits. There's the name. It got mixed up for a little. First year, a lot of people were calling it Code Red, and that finally got away. But it's been Code 3 since that's how it came about.
I like it. John, when you look through the list of the 4-wheel drive trucks, is it just like everybody is awesome, or how do you look at that? Or is it, I'm just happy to be here? Kind of what's going through your mind right now, John, as we're less than a month out?
I'm looking at that list going, I am bringing a pocket knife to a machine gun fight. I'm bringing a short wheelbase, 122-inch wheelbase with a 572 wedge motor to compete against all these big Hemis.
Now, we talk all the time, and Mike and Larry do. Mike loves 4-wheel drive trucks. Larry knows everything about pulling. Matt's our sexy voice guy. I would say, but you hear a lot, John, that it doesn't have to be, cubic inch, because I think PPL and Outlaws have the mountain motors, as I like to hear, where NTPA is a 650.
650. Well, this is what's so cool about TPC. So if you go out to the website right now and you see the way the trucks are even kind of lined up on the website, you've got Terry Hagedorn out there with the biggest cubic inch motors on the planet.
Right.
And then you've got all the NTPA guys listed kind of right next to them. And they're big believers in, and this is a springboard for the West Coast pullers. The NTPA guys say, 650, we'll go toe to toe with you guys and win every time. Terry, he's got that thing over 800 cubic inch. Right. And then you get to see this third style with the shorter wheelbase and with some wedge motors and whatnot that are undercubed. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to win. No, so it's a driver's class. It's what makes it fun. And looking at the website, you can kind of just sit there and be like, oh, that's this thought process. Oh, that's that thought process. It's going to be neat to see what happens May 17th and 18th when the tires hit the track.
If you got your setup right, you're going to drive right around those big monster motors. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're hoping we have our ducks in a row. Okay.
Oh boy, ducks. Well, the key thing that I've always
you did there.
Hey, Chris,
you're duck in a row.
Hey, Chris, why would your wife make that comment on like a national podcast?
I don't know.
That's another t-shirt. Two-t-shirt night.
I assume she's talking about the truck, right?
Well, yeah, no, I'm sure. I'm sure she is. Quack, quack.
They say there's no replacement for displacement, but I don't know. Sometimes traction wins, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Anyway, I have a special guest for you guys tonight. Speaking of no displacement, what'd you say, Matt? Say that again.
No replacement for displacement.
Right.
I want to welcome on this guy. You guys ever heard of this Jason Brammer? Is it Jason Brammer or Jason Brammer? I always say that right.
Brammer.
I know him.
Why is my thing not working? I gotta work it. I'm not gonna.
I can see him down in the corner of the screen. He's not that little.
Jason.
Hold on. I'm trying to get him, but I can't grab him.
If you guys are trying to scare off viewers,
there he is.
There he is.
There he is.
How you doing, guys?
He won the NTPA Grand National points in 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. He's like the king of smoke.
He's just badass. There's no doubt about it.
Jason, welcome to Let's Grow Pulling. I'm excited to have you back in the sport and super excited because this is a storyline for us as promoters. Jason, Brammer, a defending points champ, takes a couple years off, coming back out, and TPC is going to be his coming out party, if you will. How are you tonight, buddy?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us tonight.
No problem.
I just thought it made sense when I had Donnie and and Chris and John on tonight. You were talking 4-wheel drive trucks. We should bring on Jason,
man.
So welcome back. Welcome back.
Well, thanks.
Is it okay to put the pictures of your truck as it sits now?
Yeah. We're not too super secretive.
Well, John Boer sent me some secret pictures today. I can't share yet, so I had to make whatever we got to have. Where are they at?
Were they orgasmic on John's?
He's got them on Farmers Only already, I think.
Good boy.
There's no ducks allowed.
As long as it's not on OnlyFans, it's okay.
Yeah, only
There you go.
pullers.
Nice.
Looking sharp.
So Jason,
Houston.
you had corn fed, and then you kind of give us the back history, Jason.
Oh, we started running Grand National. I think we ran Grand National first year in 2008 with a brand new truck called Corn Fed. We run that until 2015. We won 4 back-to-back Grand National championships, 12, 13, 14, and 15. That year, we had a horrible crop. We farmed about 3,500 acres, and we averaged 35 bushel an acre on corn across that. We had a flood.
Oh.
It was awful. Money was tight. My dad had been fighting kidney failure, and he got sick and was having a lot of trouble. We decided to stay home that 2016. Meanwhile, he got sick and passed away, and basically there was some heirs that owned some farm ground with him, and we had to buy some ground. So we decided it was time to sell the truck, stay home, and get that ground taken care of. We made our last pass in 2017, I guess it was, in Cloverdale, Indiana, and the truck was kind of a pending sale. We had a price we wanted, and they had a price they wanted to give, and I kind of made mention. I said, well, I'll tell you what, if I'm in the bottom half of the class, I'll take your offer. If I'm in the top half, we'll talk, and we poked it in the sand pile down there. And I never carried my cell phone all the years I was pulling, but I had it in my inside of my fire seat pocket, and it was ringing when we come off the track. And they said, I suppose that price isn't negotiable now. And I said, no, probably not. And they would take it. And well, fast forward, they had fun with it for quite a while, and we got kind of back in the position where we wanted to pull again, and it just worked out where when they were ready to sell it, we were ready to buy, so we got it back, and we got to do a little work to it, get things back the way we like to do it, and a little maintenance and stuff, and we're hoping to make a good run down Nashville and see how we stack up with them mountain motors.
So these guys live 2,000 miles from Pullers Championship. Jason, how many miles do you live from the Pullers Championship?
Oh, Nashville, Illinois is probably 4.5 hours. I'd say it might be 215 miles down there, something like that.
Oh, wow.
We're probably going to be planting corn that morning, and we're probably going to head down there because we ain't put any corn in the ground yet, and it's getting late. So
Yeah.
we need to get our butts in gear. They're talking rain tomorrow, though, so we'll see what happens.
I know that.
Are you guys dry? Jason, are you guys dry?
No, we're wet. We got a spell in March where we ran some anhydrous, and we really haven't done much since then. It's just it rains just about every time it gets fit.
Par for the course, huh?
Yeah.
I know how that feels. Like when we go to Sublimity, Oregon, I'm usually crawling off the harvester the morning of or the night before we leave for Sublimity, Oregon.
Yeah.
I think they all do that, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, all them farmers, yeah.
You might notice too that Jason's truck is now a Chevrolet. It left as a Ford, but they put a Chevy body on it. Yeah, it was a Ford then, but now it's got a Chevy body, but it's the same chassis underneath.
It looked way better as a Ford, just being,
Yeah.
I kind of tend to agree. I kind of tend to like the Ford on it. It was different.
There you go. There you go.
Right. We had plans of doing something with it, and then with the time constraints for the Pullers Championship and everything, we decided to stick with it out for this year. And we've had some different ideas what we're going to do for next year, but I guess that's to be seen later, I guess.
Make it old school. Make some old school.
I don't know. We've had a lot of guys, a lot of people put some ideas in our head.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess see what happens. I kind of like the cabin half body. I thought, I thought that gave me a little more leg room in there. I just kind of like the way it sit.
Yeah.
But when we got it back, we moved the seat around a little bit, and I'm pretty comfortable in that single cab Chevy body. We've been working on that, so we could probably run a single cab again. I don't know. Just there's a lot of different ideas going on. See what happens, I guess.
Well, us coming from out west, we just hope that you're really rusty.
It's been 7. I guess it's been
Yeah.
7 years since I drove
Like
one.
riding a bike, though. You'll be fine, I'm sure.
But he's been running a sled for the Lowry brothers. So
Yeah.
I told him, I said, you're going to have a different perspective from sled mode to pulling mode because, you know, he's learned things now that I'm sure he didn't know before when he was just a puller. But now the sled thing is going to
I told myself that I don't even want to. I'm not even going to walk up to that sled. I don't want to be thinking about what he's doing, thinking I'm going to start the sled operator. So I'll just try to remember how we used to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be
like
fine.
riding a bike. Yeah.
You know, 2 summers of listening to me constantly, I think will put you in shape to stick the helmet back on, Jason, so you don't have to hear it anymore.
We enjoy listening to you all the time, Matt. I run a lot with the sled up where Matt does a lot of their announcing. We have a good time in the summertime.
We're stuck together a lot. We get to talk about a few of the promoters and such that we go, well, we're on the same team here. Let's sit back and smoke and talk about this.
Let's just get our job done and go on. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Keep smiling, as we say. And excited to see you back in the truck. What did I hear someone else is going to be helping drive a little bit this first year?
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on. I've had some obligations, and we're going to continue to run the sled, helping out. I mean, ISP needs that sled, and to try to find somebody to run it, we're going to stick it out with that and make sure them guys got sleds. So I had one of the guys that really helped me when I started pulling trucks down there from Kim Eddington. He was from Marshall, Illinois. Him and a guy by the name of Paul Renner were running a truck together when I started pulling 4-wheel drive trucks. And I was only 16 years old when I started driving modified trucks, and I didn't quite went from super stock to that, and I didn't quite have it down. And those two guys, they taught me a lot about how to get the modified trucks down the track. And I was trying to think how we could. We had an opportunity to go run the whole Champions Tour deal this year. The schedule kind of was nice, and there was a spot on their tour, and not very far. I think the farthest one from us is 7 hours or something. And and then when we looked at the Grand National deal, nothing. I mean, I'd love to go win another Grand National championship, or try to, I should say. But to go to Benson, North Carolina, it's like 16 hours in May when we're trying to plant corn. That's just awful hard to do. For what we got going on, and I was sitting there one day and I'm like, who's got enough experience to wheel this truck when I'm not there? I'm gonna be in the sled. Jeremy's hell of a crew chief, doesn't have a lot of experience on the truck. You know, what can we do? And we got talking one day, and I don't know, Eddington had called me when he heard we got the truck back, and all at once it clicked in my head, why don't we get Eddington to drive this thing? So I called him up one night, and he was super excited. He's been wanting to get back. He had a couple pro stock semis after he pulled 4-wheel drives, American Express and Hillbilly Deluxe. And I think he's still got American Express sitting in the shed, but he's quit pulling. He'd ran some modified race cars for a while, and he's still got a couple of those that he's got drivers in. And he was like, I really want to pull 4-wheel drive trucks again. I've been looking a little bit. And I said, well, come drive this thing this summer when I can't do it. I think we together we decided that we both haven't driven forever, but together we think we're going to try to figure it out. So we'll see what we can do. So
that's cool.
Donnie Reeves, this is a question for you earlier. What's the story behind Triple Throwdown?
Well, Spike got interested in pulling. He's always been interested in pulling, but he and I always told him, you can go piss up a rope. You ain't driving my truck. And I just thought, there's no way I'm gonna let him have rags after all I've been through with rags. And I mean, it's a lot of history and everything. And I thought pulling couldn't possibly be fun without experiencing it yourself. But I finally let him drive rags one time, and I have to say, and Jim Massetti will tell you the same thing. It might be more enjoyable to watch your child do this and win every bit as much as it is yourself. So the first time I saw that happen, and quite honestly, the son of a bitch drives better than I do. And I thought I got to build myself another truck. And I am a Ford guy, tried and true, been Ford all my life. Every vehicle I've ever driven personally practically has been a Ford pickup. But the one of the prettiest body styles that I've ever liked in my life is that C10 Chevy body. And I thought, okay, and Spike found a 72 Chevy in Sacramento, and Dad, I got your body, you know, because I told him I'm going to build another truck and let you have rags. Dumbest thing I ever did, because now he won't let me drive it. He's too busy buying companies and working all the time and 24/7, and who knows if and when he's going to pull. So I told him I want to take rags out. You ain't touching my truck. So I built that Chevy because I like that body style, and I had access to one, and I had just bought a Steve Barker chassis to put under rags here, and I thought, well, rather than buy another body, I mean, I got a lot of good welders. I'll just copy that stuff. And so the frame under triple throwdown is I'm sorry, Steve Barker, but my welders copied his chassis side by side on the fab floor in my shop, and then we did the rest of it, and we've struggled with getting it to be consistent, and we've been playing with it ever since. But it gave us 2 trucks to drive while we were building these new ones, and
Nice.
So that's really where it came from.
All right, so we're going to go into question and answer time now for, I guess, got Jason Bramer on with us, Donnie Reeve, Chris Daniels, John Boer. Good question.
Jason
ahead,
was
Donnie.
instrumental in me. We struggled for 30 years with 1,200 horsepower, and I was talking, okay, well, I'd already been down the road of building a wedge Ford, and that ain't cheap, and there's a lot of ifs and maybes about it. And so then I was toying with the idea of building a Ford Hemi, which is, that's what every Ford guy wants to do. Mm-hmm. But I thought, my engine builder and my knowledge, and, it's all going to be a what if, where you can look at Sonny Leonard's website, and here's what you get, and here's what it costs, and it's going to be that. And if you do what they tell you to do, they're going to be down the track every time running the same way, and you don't have to. And I was actually talking to Sonny Leonard myself, and I said, he goes, if you want to know how my motors run and what you can expect, call Jason. And I did. And Jason told me, hey, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's the best thing out there. It's you will not go wrong. You buy his motor, it'll do what he says it'll do, and you won't regret it. So I bought one, and since then we bought 4 more. And they all run great. You do what they say. You don't have a lot of ifs and maybes, and you run them the way they say to run them. You send them back when you're supposed to, and I broke 1 valve spring so far. But
definitely proven to be reliable and performing then.
They are. And I thought, now I'm ready to go to Bowling Green, right? Well, I went to Bowling Green in 2017, and I thought, man, I'm one of the boys, right? And I was one of the boys. I walked the line at the weigh-in. There was 48, 50 trucks, I forget. Mm-hmm. All but 4 of them had the exact same motor. I thought, well, I ain't got nothing on these guys. It was pretty impressive, and it is a great motor, And Jason was right. And by the way, Jason knows his shit. I was standing by that sand pile in Cloverdale. The guy knows what he's doing. We're in trouble.
So Doug wants to know what about stadium? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking right over you.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just reading Doug's comment down here. I thought you were finished. I didn't mean to jump on top of you there. But talking about Bowling Green and big stages in the TPC, what about indoor pulling or stadium events back in the day through the 80s and early 90s?
I personally have only pulled indoors. I pulled indoors in the Cow Palace in San Francisco in 1980 in the super stock class. And I pulled in Kansas City. Great pull. Looking forward to seeing Ken Summers and his wonderful family again, and Ron Stone, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to on this trip. Is a lot of the people that I've met. I've met Terry Hagedorn there, and Joe and Eric Claypool are you know, not great friends of mine, but I've seen them in White Rock, Texas. I've seen them in Kansas City twice. It's all good people, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with them and meeting people I haven't met before. That's what's one thing that's great about doing these kind of things. And but I haven't pulled indoors a whole lot. We don't have any out here, and at least
we did in Reno 1 year.
10 years. Pardon me.
We did in Reno 1 year.
That's right. We did pull in the livestock arena in Reno. I mean, it's happened, but it's not
very often. Yeah.
Is that the same motor that you guys when you sold it to? Am I going to say this right? Elshingers.
Eschlinger. Yeah, that's the same motor that we built. That motor brand new in 2015, and they updated it. I don't know. They had a clutch issue and pushed the thrust out of it, and they've updated it. I just know that because there's oilers on it now, and they've done a little bit of valve train work to it. But we went down, I'd say about 3 weeks ago, and freshened it up and ran it on the dyno one day, and it made about 35 horse more than it made when we built it brand new in 15.
Dang.
Jason, is there a big jump in horsepower since then?
I think way I get it, to me, the mountain motors are making a lot more than they used to. You know, back when PPL first started, went from ATPA to PPL, the old Oldsmobile block, Chevy headed were big motors, and we had the Hemi heads running on the 650s, and there was 50 to 100 horsepower. They maybe made more, but now, you know, them 825 cubic inch Sunny motors they can make over 2,000 horsepower. I think they're sending them down the track with like 1850 or 1900. They can't use it anymore. Now they'll tune them back on the dyno. But, you know, I think the best 650 right now is pushing 1695 or 1700. So, I mean, you're going to be down 200 horse with a 650 now to those mountain motors, and maybe I bit off more than I could chew on that because I didn't really realize that till I got to investigating that a little bit after I kind of committed to run the Champions deal. But we figure we'll just we'll kind of hurt them when we catch a rainy, muddy track or a hard, slick one, and when it's real good, we'll take our 11th or 10th and just hope there's more of them ones that ain't so good that we can run with them, you know.
There you go. That's what we're hoping to.
Yeah. I'm telling you, them things if they got them cranked up 2,000 horsepower, I mean, I know that Macville track. I mean, if they make that thing right, you take a 2,000 horsepower mountain motor and a 1,700 horsepower 650. We better hope we got a real good draw up there. Let's put it that way.
Hey, Mike, when you buzz down the list of the TPC trucks, how many big cube motors do we have versus?
So when we come over here, and I was just getting ready to look at that, and I've got a question I want to bounce off on that. So as we go down, our top two, we've got a couple of the West Coast guys. So they're going to be at 650 or under. And then the next one is John Boer right here next to Jason Bramer. So you're looking at Jason's running the 650, and then John's going to be, well, John said you were at what, 572. That's what I thought. And then we bounce down, and Donnie's sitting side by side on the website with Terry Hagedorn. Now, Terry's just, if there ever was a believer in what people call the mountain motor, you know, the 650 plus or the over 800, it's definitely Terry Hagedorn. So he's your first one with the big one there. Terry's got another entry in there, so he's got two. And then this one I don't know, but I do know it's going to be over 650. But I'll have Larry confirm. Jim Bosch is going to be running a mountain motor, isn't he? He's not running. I mean, he's been with PPL so long. I assume that's kind of a part of why he's there and why he does that. Guys, as you go down this, and then we come back to Joe Claypool and Jake Zering. Jake's going to have the 650. Joe can run. I bet Joe's over 650. Joe's an outlaw puller. He won points championship with the outlaw year before last. I don't know what the fired up truck has in it. I bet it's over 650 though. I would almost
Gramer will know. Jason, you can answer that.
You know, I kind of lost track of that motor. I know it was a 650 when they went to a Sunny, but I don't know if they've upgraded past that. I know Jimmy Bosch, the way I understand, he's got two. He's got a Mountain and a 650. But I kind of lost track of what Claypool did to his.
I really feel like it's a big one, and they've got two trucks, and I always wanted to say, well, one's a mountain motor and one's not a mountain motor, but I think that's not the distinction. I think one's a wedge motor and the other is a Hemi, and that's right. Where they're at.
Where they're running at, it would. I mean, if I was going to run where they ran at, I'd probably have a big motor. I haven't seen him in any NTPA polls, so.
Right. No, exactly.
Right,
so,
right.
But yeah, no, he's. I'm almost fairly certain he's at that. So here's my question. I want to ask you, Jason, because you're tried and true 4-wheel drive truck pulling. You know everything there is about it.
I don't know about
Not Jason Bramer, I should say.
Yeah, wrong
So-
Jason.
Yeah, we all knew. We all knew. Don't worry, Mike.
Well, you do yourself up on center stage, so
You're not to him.
No,
You're
we're just showing.
Nobody thought it
That
was.
one up.
Nobody thought it was Schultz. Trust me.
We're just showing videos. Just showing videos from last year.
Look at
Jason has kind of analyzed Jason's kind of analyzed the track, and he's analyzed kind of the three different directions you can go as far as cubic inch setup. And I love playing into that, and maybe I play into it way too much. So Jason, let's just pretend, let's pretend we're at Nashville and we're pretending we're making odds. Let's pretend that the show is not won by a 650 guy. Do you think, just based on what you've seen, that it's going to be one of these one of these West Coast guys who are running a smaller that's going to give them more throttle control, or do you think it's going to favor the mountain motor guys?
It's been years since I've been to Nashville, and I've seen that track be good, and I've seen that track be a little spongy. And it looks like from what I see last year, it's maybe a little dry slick. I mean, it's all going to depend on if there's a soft spot. If they got a soft spot on that first 100 foot where them 800 motors can't get them wound up, we're going to have a chance. Now, at the point where if it gets a little better after that 100 foot, maybe them 650s are going to come on down through there. But if it just stays soft, or if it for some reason we're just to slick over real bad, that's where you're going to see them little motors come in there. If it were to slick off, say they run as late in the night, it got hard slick. I can remember years ago running in the 90s with ITPA in Illinois, and the little pro stock trucks were 470 cubic inch, and we were running 650 cubic inch, 5-inch bore space wedge motors, making 1,300 horse, and they were probably making 900, and they'd flat put it on us. I mean, they would flat put it on us with a single carburetor. So I think I'd like to see a muddy starting line to drive by them big motors. I think that the under 600-inch motors better hope for a dry, slick track. That would be what my guess would be. If it's slick over, they'd be in the ballpark.
I love it. That's a great response, because that talks about the different ways it can go, and so much of that in the class. And I like that you even point out the time of day that you're pulling, and we all know that when that moisture comes up and that track changes. So there's a lot of fun factors. This is why Jason Schultz earlier said, Mike's a big 4-wheel drive truck guy, because to me, there's so many little things that come into play there when you start looking at that. So
that class takes more finesse and driver skill than almost any other class out there. And I personally have driven everything down the track, including semis, except for a 4-wheel drive. And Jason has offered, and Rob Foster has offered, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to bounce. I don't want to think, oh God, I just screwed, But I guess I do have some pride. But that class, I mean, and it's the setup, as all of you guys know. If the setup's right, it's not going to take the most power. It's going to take the best power to the ground. And that's
and like what Larry just said there, and Dakota made a comment about it a minute ago too. And this is one of the things we've always looked at. The truck that's going to get 75% of its horsepower to the ground is going to outrun the truck that gets 25% to the ground at any given day and any given track. It's just watching the track, see what the track's doing. And, and the one thing that and not tuning our horn or anything, the one thing that we do have a little bit of advantage of with the smaller motor, coming out of the hole a little bit better. The big mountain motors might have to walk it out, and they're not loading that thing until 150 feet, where we can get loaded and get a run and get the momentum up in the first 50 feet or 75 feet.
You're completely correct. I was talking to a puller who in this off season, he had kind of bounced around between Midwestern organizations, and he had come to pull with the Outlaws, and he had put a mountain motor in his truck. And after he was kind of made some decisions, he had told me, he said, I'm actually going back to the 650. He says that mountain motor, from a driver's standpoint, for me, he goes, it's untamable. He goes, there is just in that 75 feet that, yeah, I've seen him do it driving. You might have to walk it out to 120 or more before they're full throttle on that. So absolutely, you guys are going to be able to get in it early. And if you get that momentum built, it's just as likely to go your way as anybody's way.
1-1, baby. 1-1.
The video of Tyler Slaw dumping his last year. He said it looked pretty good last year. We got that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yes, Schultz. Let's have a show about 4-wheel drives, and then let's show mini rods dumping over. That's what I would do. No, really, that's what I would do. I would have all the 4-wheel drive guys on talking about theory and driver ability, and then let's watch Tyler lay it on his side. Jesus, Pete.
Get him.
Tyler wishes this video never existed. If it weren't for this video, he would still have comfortable seating position and legroom in his mini rod. If this never would have happened, he could still stick his toes out where he wants them.
You watch his legs. They don't come off that frame rail. That's got nothing to do with it. That was political. I'll shut up. Anyway, got all these 4-wheel drive guys on, and let's continue to show the mini rod. Jeez.
Hey, I got to take care of Tyler. Back to the 4-wheel drives. Sorry,
he's got his own friggin' show. Tyler does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
it's not as good as this one. It's not as good as this one.
Go get him, Larry. That's awesome.
He got muted. Look out.
Jason said, "Oh, I really want you on the show, Larry. We really enjoy it. Our viewers go up when you're on the." You know why? Because I tell him you're screwing up, Schultz. Show 4-wheel drives. Kinsey can't do it all, and she's trying to do what you say, and what you say is wrong.
Wrong.
You can see it in her eyebrows.
Our show that does the same thing.
Well, if you're ever having a good day and you're feeling good about yourself, like, man, life's going good, you just call Larry Richwine and you quickly become the lowest rung of piece of shit dung there is out.
John knows. John sends me pictures, and I go, "No." John knows. Yeah.
We've got a lot of communication.
John's the one I said, "Why don't you bring that damn thing to Indiana, and I'll just build the son of a bitch, and we'll get it legal." Didn't I? I said we'll make it legal, and then you can take it to Illinois. No offense, John, but yeah. Jesus, geez. But I did have to call Jason on a couple items to make sure I was right.
Yep.
On the rules, and I was kind of maybe, yeah.
I'm the resident 4-wheel drive analyst.
He is my 4-wheel drive advisor on stuff that guy that's run every division but 4-wheel drive.
And that's exactly what he said. Hold on, let me call you back. I'll call Jason.
That's exactly right. And I did, by God. I did.
Nice.
Jason, this is an obvious question, but we need to ask it. Just how point blank excited are you to be behind the wheel of a 4-wheel drive truck again and get out there? I mean, is this something, are you starting to get pumped up? Or are you still kind of focused on getting the corn in the ground? Or, I mean, is this a big deal for you, buddy?
Yeah, we're excited. We got a lot of work to do here on getting the crop in the ground, but we're real excited about it. This pulling's all my family ever did for vacation, excitement, anything. And that 6 years without having a pulling truck in the shed was kind of like you lost a family friend, so to have that thing back, that means a lot to our family. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to be there, excited to see it. Chris, John, and Donnie, I asked Jason a question, a hypothetical. Here's my hypothetical for you. Let's say you guys find yourself 1, 2, 3, top 3. You've won. You're right up there. Who do you feel, and the obvious answer is all of them, but is there any specific competitor that you're like, if we're going to win this, we either need to get by that guy or we need that guy to drop the ball? Is there a big red X that you guys have tapped on anyone, or is this the Pullers Championship and, you've got to come you've got to bring your pocket knives to the machine gun fight ready to go.
Come on, guys. Answer
Chris, go first.
I would,
go ahead, Don.
having never seen the track, I have no idea if we have an advantage or a disadvantage. I mean, obviously, you look at some of those motors that Eric and Terry and them are running. You know, there's a disadvantage there if the track can take the power. But on the other hand, I mean, I transitioned from 1,200 horse to 1,600, and I can tell you there's a massive ability thing that you've got to have going on to use that horsepower. I've heard rumor that this track is not the best clay track on the face of the earth, like say Bowling Green or some of the others. Hutchinson, Minnesota was a hell of a track for me. And if that's the case, you know, that giant horsepower may or may not be that big a factor. Like was said earlier, it's all about who hooks it to the ground. And it doesn't matter if you're running 1,000 horse or 2,000 horse. If you get it on the ground and the other guy doesn't, you're going to win.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I'm not coming there thinking that we have a major disadvantage. Am I worried about people like Jason Brammer doing what he does every single pass he's ever made in his whole life? Yeah.
Yeah. So it almost felt the way that you were describing things there. And as we've looked at horsepower and cubic inch and everything, it almost feels like a lot of this plays into Jason's hand pretty well, you know, so maybe he's the one with the big red X that you guys are gunning for. And if so, hey, perfect show. Here he is.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Now, these guys all been driving the last 7 years. They got to give me about a 25-foot head start so I can pick the rest up.
You want to think like that, you better go play golf.
I've been trying to talk Zering into that all summer since I've been out of the game. I need to
nobody that can win the Grand National thing 4 years in a row needs any help.
No.
Yeah, we're hoping we can figure it out, but you know, you never know. You never know.
Looking forward to seeing you again.
Yep, you too. You too. I thought you were at Cloverdale that year. I couldn't remember if you were there. I thought I'd talk to you, but I'm getting old. I couldn't remember.
I blew the left wheel off of my mini tractor. It made a hell of a video.
Oh.
Good looking run.
I do remember that now. That now.
Yeah.
You're up next, Chris.
Huh?
You're next.
What am I next for? Who to look out for? Well, Jim Bosch. I mean, he's won it last year. He won both nights by a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy with the X on his back.
Jim Bosch is a legend that feels like, you know, I mean, we've said Terry's name several times, Jason's name several times. Jim Bosch is legitimately a legend in four-wheel drive truck pulling. And I still, even at legendary status, I don't feel his name gets brought up enough. So I'm glad that you said the Midnight Raider is going to be one that you're going to have to, you know.
If I get a minute to add to that, I'd say Jim Bosch will do the most with the least of any truck puller I've ever seen. Everybody I pulled against.
Yeah.
He's a truck puller. He's not I got more horsepower than you. He is a truck puller, and he'll figure out what he's got to work with. And I'd say he's right up there at one of my picks of winning it.
But he drives clear to the other end of the track to look at it. That's why he does so good.
Right.
When he comes out, hell, he goes 300 feet before he backs up.
Well, we got a lot of weight on them front wheels, Larry. We like to pack our spot that way.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I blew up. Okay.
Well, and Larry, he can see it because he actually goes that far when he pulls the damn thing.
I know. No, he's definitely a good puller, but there's several of them in that roster that you read off there. And, you know, I hope that my adopted truck, I really hope that we do well now that I've helped him get the truck legal.
Yeah.
John, I can't root for you because I've kind of adopted Jason and Jeremy as my nephews, but I hope we do good, John.
I mean, and mine would have to be every single truck out there has got to have an X on it for me because go back there with the smallest equipment. But the one thing I want to say is, all growing up and everything else, we never really traveled. Like Jason said, pulling was their vacations and stuff like that. With the farming and everything else, we never, up until 2019, the furthest I've ever gone is Winnemucca, Nevada. So going out and getting further out, and this is sort of like a bucket list item for me to go back there and play one time. I go back there and get my butt handed to me. I get my butt handed to me.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'm going back there and chalking something off the bucket list and to say that I've done it and pull back there with the big guys like Jason and Jim and
meet them in person.
Yeah. And you were talking about being volunteer fire chief. Jason's volunteer fire chief in Beaverville, Illinois.
Right. Beaverville, Illinois.
Do with that what you want.
Leave them wet.
Say that again, Jason.
Well, we tried for a long time to get the trustees to put it on our shirts, and we finally got it done. We put on the bottom of our shirts, Beaverville Fire, find them hot, leave them wet.
3 t-shirts. 3 t-shirts in one night. 3 t-shirts. This is the best day ever.
That's awesome.
John, make sure that Jason Schultz gives you a Puller's Championship t-shirt. I mean, that's the least he could do for driving that far, all 3 of you guys.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I'm wearing mine from last year, and I didn't even intend it.
I want a t-shirt crew shirt. I don't want no t-shirt.
We're going to get you a silver mug, too, a stainless steel mug.
Oh, nice.
When you got a crew shirt, though, that means you got to do some work and answer questions. So be careful what you ask for.
That'll be after the show, not during.
I'll never wear a staff shirt.
I'll trade it. We got baby Huey shirts. I'll trade, whatever.
Jason, are you going to run ITPA schedule? Dylan Dirks wants to know. Bramer.
We haven't. Eddie and I sat down a couple of weeks ago. We didn't have the ITPA schedule yet. And I told him, I know we're going to be at Crescent City. The only one, I think we can make most of them. We're kind of up in the air about Illinois State Fair because it's the Wednesday of Bowling Green. And everybody knows if you're not in Bowling Green by Wednesday and you got to pull Thursday night, it's going to be a hassle. So whether we take a chance on trying to run the Illinois State Fair now, we're going to try to run as many of them as we can. They were short on numbers last year, so we're trying to build trucks back up in Illinois. We're going to support them all we can. It's just going to be whether or not it conflicts with what we're doing.
Yeah, it is, Brian.
Ben says you were supposed to quit smoking, Jason. Was that something smart when you bought
Yeah, I've been trying. You guys started stressing me out a little bit. I had to have a cigarette.
All right. I want to start something new here where we go around the room and somebody else gets to ask somebody else. So Donnie Reeve, ask anybody else on the panel a question.
Oh, shit.
I got mine. It's going to be great.
All right, John, you go first.
All right, just so that the announcers of the TPC can hear it. Hey, Chris, what's your given nickname that's announced at a pool?
What?
Mike's taking notes.
Dr. Duck, yeah. Dr. Duck, yep.
You got that, Mike?
Yep.
Dr. Duck.
Dr. Duck, yep. Once in a
Huey,
while.
Dewey, and Louie. Just baby Huey, though.
Duck, come on.
I got it.
Hey,
Wrong Duck.
Mike, that's D-U-C-K, Mike. Just
Oh.
No T? No, it's not like the gray stuff. No T. Okay.
I
Not the
DI when I get done at TBC, yeah.
we'll have fun, guys. That's it.
Y'all will have a blast. Absolutely.
Donnie, do you think of something?
Mike, are you going to announce?
Jason, are we all? What's the press release protocol, Jason?
Dan Mayer is our number one man. He's going to be our main announcer. Mike Idle is going to be the color guy for Dan. Christopher Clark is working the crowd and he's our hype guy this year. So yes, Mike will be on the mic.
What's Matt doing?
Matt is busy that weekend. Otherwise, Matt would be there as well.
Be available to party like you did in Madeira?
You mean sleep? He slept most of the time he's in our camp.
That first night I did.
He's the
The
man.
second night, not so much. I wish I would have slept the second night. Then I wouldn't have threw up at the Madeira airport.
Oh no!
Playing with the concrete a little bit.
That poor trash can at the Madeira airport. My goodness.
It was a bush. I got out of my Uber. You guys, when the Uber comes at 3:45, and let's just say we just went straight to the Uber. That was a fun night. It was a fun night.
Oh boy, yeah,
Yeah, that was a good time. So
yeah.
it was a good time.
Genzi is a pitcher coming.
Oh boy.
Well, that'd be nice. Yeah, nothing like a Cinnabon at the airport and then Jason Schultz's vomit. Yeah. There we go. Woo, what a combination,
Daniels.
friends. That makes you wanna
Daniels,
hang
you
out,
got a
don't
question for the panel?
Jason Bramer, if you need any, gear selection, I can help you out on that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw one at the dartboard and we'll run that one.
All right.
Right.
Now he sounds like Eddie Tucker.
Jason, now you get to ask anybody a question. Any of the
All right, this one's gonna go to Matt. Now I'll give you, Matt is the most energetic announcer I've ever seen in all my years of pulling.
Yes.
Now I believe we were in Yorkville about 2 years ago, and it's about 8,000 degrees that night. And I get done hooking the sled up, and I couldn't have been any wetter than if I fell in a swimming pool. And I look out on the track as I'm putting the last weight on, or the scales or whatever, and Matt's running wind sprints up and down the track to burn off some. So I just want to know, what's your preferred energy drink to get you through this? Because I'm going to need a lot of energy this summer to get all this done.
Well, we're probably sponsored by Coltrane Energy, which can
That's
get you
right.
fired up. But I also put a fun powder on my pancakes at breakfast that make things fun. It gets everybody fired up. It's like, I was 30 pounds heavier before we did that.
That's 4 T-shirts. That's 4
Yeah.
T-shirts.
4 T-shirts. There's actually the competition on the over/under. So Bramer and I have this talk too.
Energy drink plus special sugar. Yes,
Special
matter
sugar.
is energy.
Fun
right.
powder, get it right. Fun powder.
That's right. Yeah, fun powder rhymes with gunpowder. Still has the same effect. If
Is
the
that what
ceilings are low.
kids are calling it nowadays? Yeah.
we had fun with that. So Jason talks about that sweating through. I was actually pushing a stroller with a 2-year-old in it as well. So there was a little extra weight there. I had to make sure the track was still in good shape for the next night. So
Nice.
Did I understand you were rolling the track with a 2-year-old? What did you say?
that's right. Yeah, little stroller. Yeah.
Back it down,
Yeah. It's a
This
family
sounds like
sport.
The Hangover. Did you find that? Is this like you found it? It's like, you're looking like the dude at the beginning of The Hangover. Please tell me that you knew the 2-year-old.
Well, Carlos and I became good friends after we ran sprints. So
His mom was
Maybe
not
Carlos.
happy though.
No. Anyway, no, that's a funny story. It was hotter than hell that night.
Oh,
Yes,
my
sir. Oh man, and the beer was cold.
That's awesome.
I knew something was coming. I'm like, shit, Bramer's on. I better get myself together. So
That's a fun story.
yeah. I got a question for you then. Is Nathan going to be able to drive it once this year?
The plan, we built him that ITPA antique last year, and we had a lot of bugs with that, and he wasn't old enough to drive it. We got that figured out, the carburetor issues, and got a clutch in it now that should hold it. He's 16 in May, so he'll be able to run the full ITPA circuit with that. I told him if he got that thing down the track clean and didn't run nobody over, our Paw National weekend that we'll be all done with everything. I'll be in the sled. We're going to hook him up on there on the open class, and Uncle Jason will be in the seat. So if I don't like what's going on, I know where that little red button's at to shut her off.
I love it. Yeah, we generally cut that off too, so we could have some fun with that. I might know the guy who does that too.
Yeah. It's a good time.
There's a great picture.
Out cold.
Jason looks sleepy.
He had a big day.
I'm glad he's comfortable.
Hey, what was the name of your mortician? They did your makeup pretty good there, Schultz.
Honestly, I knew what they were doing, and I was so tired I didn't care. It was one of those nights. It was just
Tired? You were tired? Is that what the word was? You were tired?
I didn't really. Honestly, Chris, only John. I probably only drank a little bit of John's whiskey that night. So John Boer, if you like Crown Royal, John Boer is your guy.
No, it wasn't just that. We had leftover moonshine from TPC, didn't we?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all start coming back now. It's all
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
It's all coming back now.
Schultz went 4 bottles.
Yeah.
Crown Royal is very popular in most pit areas I've found.
Yes.
Haven't you, Jason?
Yeah, Crown Royal seems to be popular amongst four-wheel drive pullers and NTPA officials and T-shirt salesmen and
Former NTPA officials.
yeah. That I'm dating myself.
Me and Donnie, we're more Jack guys, I think.
I know I got on Black Velvet whiskey one night in Minnesota in the late 90s, early 2000s with Gerald Ammon and the Suki Bunch. And I made it back to Ammon's trailer about the time we were leaving to go to Wisconsin. And he said, "Who were you drinking with last night?" I said, "I really couldn't tell you." And we pull into Wisconsin to the pool. I can't remember. It was on that summer sweep they had years ago. We drive by a whole bunch of super farm guys and they start yelling, "Bramer, what's going on?" I said, "Apparently those guys. Apparently."
I think this is a good, just a natural question here. I think we should go around the room. And I know Larry doesn't drink adult beverages anymore, but Donnie, what's your go-to adult beverage? What's your favorite?
I only drink Jack Daniels and water.
Jack Daniels
with
and
a
water.
big piece of lemon. Very little water and a big piece of lemon.
Yeah.
Here's to you.
And a
Here's
big
to you.
red solo cup. Yep.
I like it. John Boer, what's your go-to, buddy?
Crown and Dr. Pepper.
That is very nice.
Regular Crown?
Apple Crown and Dr. Pepper.
Apple Crown, Dr. Pepper. Okay. Bramer?
Well, Crown Royal is pretty popular in our camp. We'll do Crown and Diet Coke. We'll do a lot of shots of Apple Crown around here. But if we're really just going to drink whiskey, I'll break out like some Angel Envy, and we'll just drink that on ice.
Ooh,
And of course, you got some Busch Lights. I mean, if you're from Illinois and you're a farmer, you got some Busch Light.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So, did you name Corn Fed, Jason, back in the day? We kind of brought you in the middle of it. Really didn't go.
Yeah, we'd been running a truck called Blue Angel that come from Raymond Engelbach in Missouri. He went way back tri-state, Illinois, and all that. Bought that truck for a couple of years, and then Eddie didn't want to sell his truck, so we ran 2 trucks for about 3 years, and that was just too much. Man, 2 trucks is like having 10. You think it's twice as much work, but it's 10 times as much work. So with our crew, we went back to 1 truck. We just ran Mr. Recovery is what the name of Eddington's truck was. He had the big record service in Marshall. Well, when we built the new truck, we were building a new Barker chassis. We had Bamber build a new Ford motor out there. It was kind of short-lived. He did a good job. It just wouldn't compete with the Hemis. We were riding up to get some parts at VSI in Hammond, Indiana, and we were trying to figure out a new name for this truck. And I don't know, that a song come on. It was a country song about being corn fed. And I said, that's a good name because we raise corn. I guess that's what feeds this thing. And that just kind of stuck, and it was corn fed ever since.
Nice.
I like it. Michael, adult beverage of choice, sir.
So what a great transition. I thought the beer money pulling team was founded by a diehard beer drinker, but turns out it was just the Kip Moore song.
Correct.
Song came on the radio. Correct. So when I got brought on board, I was like, I'm going to fit in perfectly. And I was like, I'm going to drink so much beer with Jason Schultz. He's like, I drink whiskey. Beer through and through. Coors Light. I mean, just 100%. Swear by it. That is my big endorsement of the day. That and outlawpulling.tv. Those are the things that I live by.
So what'd you say, Mike? Girls Light? Is that what you said? Girls Light?
Coors Light.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I drink a banquet beer from time to time. Coors Banquet's all right.
Uncle Larry doesn't drink beer, but I have seen him drink Coors Light before.
Yeah, well, if it's really cold and I'm really hot, I'll drink a beer. But I bet I haven't drank a 24-pack of beer of any kind my entire life. I just never had a taste.
You bought a 12-pack to my house and drank 2 that time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the beer was cheap, and I bought it and brought it to your refrigerator in the shop.
We appreciate it.
I'm pretty sure Dakota's a Busch Light guy. Through and through. Yeah. Pretty sure he is. Matt Hart, adult beverage of choice, sir.
So mine's kind of random. St. Patrick's Day is probably one of my favorite holidays. And there's an Irish whiskey called Patties, and you mix it with a ginger ale, a lemon, and a lime, and it is the happiest drink on earth. You can have the worst day of your life, drink that, and you'll smile as big as I do. It's incredible. My dad.
So you're saying you could drink one of those? You could drink one of those and still talk to Larry Richwine, and you'd still be okay.
Well, Larry might not be, but I certainly would be. Yes.
That's close. I thought you were going to say a seltzer. Thank God, but
no. No. I get my pancakes in the morning and my Patty's whiskey at night. So it's good. One to get you up, one to bring you back down.
There you go, Kenzie. Dakota's got your drink. I like that. Daniels, go to.
Jack and Diet Coke.
Jack and Diet Coke.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Cheers, Chris.
There's one awesome photo from me pouring a drink last year at TPC. Let's see it, Dakota. It's awesome. Did Justin Kent take it? I'm guessing we could try to find it. So, all right, Mike. I feel like we're starting to slow down. Where are you at mentally with the show, Matt? Where are you guys at? Should we wrap it up, or do you guys got anything else running around in that mill of yours?
I'm fired up because let me ask this. I've got one I can't let the West Coast guys get away from out here. So I've got a statement and I'll follow it up with a question. I'm long-winded. I just like to talk, and Jason asked if I wanted to talk, and I want to talk. So
raise your hand if you didn't know Mike liked to talk. I didn't know that, Mike.
It's like a principal. They say I need to be a high school principal. One of the requirements is, can you turn a 2-minute story into a 20-minute story? It's the best way to handle a parent-teacher conference. Like, parents come in mad and you're like, hey, let me just tell you this quick story. And they're like, hey, we'll just leave and stop being upset if you'll quit talking. Like, it's the best way to handle any tough situation. The MLM guys coming to the TPC, I think, is absolutely huge for MLM and all West Coast pulling for 2 major reasons. You guys come in here, you finish top 3. It says to the world, hey, we're right here with you. We believe we are. We knew we were. We come out here, run what we brung, and we brought enough boys. If you come out here and do that, it's a win-win for you. If you come out here and you finish wherever, you spend the weekend looking at everyone, you spend the weekend talking with people, and you come back to your organization, you say, hey, here's what we can do. So that's a complete win-win. What would it mean? And we've talked a lot tonight about how the smaller cubic inch, the smaller horsepower is not a disadvantage inherently. What would it mean to your region, your organization, and each of you personally to come out to this thing and finish top 3 or even walk away with a TPC win?
Oh, awesome. Just incredible. It's already a chance of a lifetime. I mean, for me, it's just get voted in from over 200 trucks. It's a blessing. I mean, we've been wanting to go back there for years, and now, we voted in and we're able to go, thanks to a lot of friends and family. But
are you satisfied just being voted in, or do you feel like, okay, it's kind of like making the Final Four or the Super Bowl or something, like, hey, that's really cool, we're glad to be here, but we're not going to travel halfway across the country just to come out here and shake hands with the locals? I mean, is that the goal, to come out and put it down the track?
It's the goal. Yeah. It's
good. Good.
You talk about being long-winded. I need you to talk to my daughter. She's becoming an ag teacher, so it's perfect. But it's one of those things where if we were to come out and bring home top 3, those 4 trucks come from the West Coast, all 4 come home, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's one of those things where it would be one of the biggest highlights in a lifetime, besides getting married and having a kid. It would rank right there at the top of everything.
It's a good thing you said that, John, because your wife's watching tonight. Bramer, does your truck have a sticker that says "Fat Guys Rule" on it, Bramer?
Our graphics lady has not been there yet, but as soon as we get the back window in, it will be on there. I mean, we got that. That's a necessity. That's just part of it.
Nice.
Donnie, what's TPC mean to you?
A lot. I'm really excited. I can't wait to get this stuff loaded up and get headed that way. I think it'll be a fantastic event. I've been to a few fantastic events. I don't think that you guys are doing anything that's gonna short that. I'm coming with I wouldn't say a sense of confidence, but I do think anything's possible. Us coming home 1, 2, 3 is not going to happen. but do we want it to? Are we going to do everything to try for that? Absolutely. Before I went to Bowling Green in 2017, I was absolutely had no idea if we could even compete with the world-class pulling that exists out there in that part of the country. And, and I learned that anything's possible because we went to that pull not knowing anything about a real track. We've never been on a track that hooked like that. We went back there with a couple of iron body trucks that are primitive design compared to what's out there today. And, and Spike came home looking like this. So, I mean, we went back 2 years later and I got up there and got a trophy. So anything's possible. And like we were talking earlier, it isn't who's the, Jason has a hell of a reputation, but I'm sure along the way he's made some bad passes too. It's all about who comes together with, who chooses the right place on the track and puts the right amount of air pressure in his tires and puts the right gear in and then drove not like I do. And
whatever. Donnie, plenty of pulls.
So it's exciting. It's I can't wait. And I really do hope we do good because we are, when people think about trucks from the West Coast and they think that, well, do they even have pulling out there? So it would make a statement. Do I want that to happen? Absolutely. But would I love to win against a motor with 500 horse more than I'm running? Hell yeah. But we're going to come find out. I know that. And it's going to be an exciting weekend, and I'm really looking forward to meeting some people that I've met along the way in the past, and some new ones, and hooking up with all you folks. And I mean, I think it's going to be an incredible time, and I can't wait to come. I was really upset that I missed the boat last year, and I was going to do whatever it took to do it this year.
Yeah.
Is you guys all being voted in, is that a reflection of how hard you guys push it, or is that a reflection of how big pulling is out west and your fans kind of coming together and saying like, hey, we follow this stuff, we believe in this stuff, we want to send our guys out there? I was talking with my buddies before the show, and they were kind of asking like California pullers. I said, well, no, that's a reflection to me of how big it's getting out there. The fans are saying, you don't make the fan vote unless you got thousands and thousands of fans voting for you, and you don't have thousands of fans voting for you if you don't have thousands and thousands of fans. So to me, that says pulling out there, you guys are ready to kind of kick down the door and make the statement, not only you as drivers, but your fans and supporters and organizations out there as well.
I think it's both. I think it's a lot of how the sport has grown. It used to be really huge out here in the 80s and 90s whenever Donnie was first started and stuff. Is really big. There are a lot of names from out here went back there and pulled, and I think with the growth that's been coming back on the West Coast, them all standing behind everybody and getting on there and voting it just shows the growth of what has become on the West Coast.
Yeah. Once we all hit the top 20, boy, it was on like crazy. They were just calling, asking how we could vote, where to vote. I mean, it was insane.
I heard Best Buy was selling a lot of laptops that week when you
got
that's what I heard. I don't know, and I don't know how many email addresses were created, how many Yahoos, how many Gmails, how many. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I also think the social media is what was really really exploded.
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people voted for me just to get me to shut up and quit asking.
That's how Jason gets all his media done. People just want not Jason Bramer, Jason Schultz. Want him just to leave him alone, and they'll watch his show. Damn it, jeez.
Oh, that's great.
I got one last question. Everybody has their favorite track. What is one track? I'm gonna start with you, Bramer. That no matter what you do or did, you could never lick it over the years. It was just one of those tracks that Yeah. Do you have one like that, Jason? I mean, I know you won 4 Grand National Championships, but there has to be one.
Toma, Wisconsin was never good to us. We won every place you could win on the Grand National circuit. And I think we were second twice at Toma. I never could get a handle on where I needed to be. I seemed like I thought I was onto something, and then it would work, and then it wouldn't work. And then I know we led it for the entire night. One night, Mike Mankey drove by us, last truck in the class. And I said, well, I guess there's just something that we ain't supposed to win Toma. I guess that track would probably be the one that's it's like Dale Earnhardt's Daytona. Toma's been that way for me. I just have never done there.
Donnie, is there one track that just no matter what you do, it's just got you licked?
Ukiah, California is frustrating for me. I mean, I've made some good passes there and I've won a few times, but more often than not, I can't get it together. And it's frustrating because it's one of the very few tracks in California that have any clay in it and that can be a really good track. And I more often than not, I cannot get my shit together on the Ukiah track. Now this year I'm going to win it. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you got to get
as a rule. I have screwed up there quite often in the past.
Oh yeah, we all have.
Daniels.
Well, Donnie doesn't have it anymore, but Clements was, God, I could not get a hold of that thing for nothing.
That's because there's nothing to get a hold of.
Well, I know, but it was worse than Turlock. I can at least get Turlock a little bit now, but man, that track was just always beating me. But yeah,
we could have irrigated half of the United States with the water we put in there, but
yeah.
Still mediocre.
Yeah, very true.
But old Rick Johnson come down there and showed us how to do it.
Well, yeah, but Rags got down there too. I mean, you guys had it figured out.
I think if I remember right, the last pull was Rick and then Spike right there with an inch.
Yep, first and second both nights. Yep.
And my old blue Chevy was third, if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't remember, but
always behind Spike. I don't get it.
You taught him too well.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah.
Mr. Boer, one track that just conquers you.
Mine would have to be Yerington, Nevada.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
I have never been able to get my shit straight at Yerington.
Oh, yeah.
Every year, either I have I had a fuel problem one year. I've had crap get in my head and totally screw up my run. And it just, every time, Yerington, Nevada, every time gets me for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens.
Schultz, what's yours? You've been on the track more than once. We don't want to forget your illustrious driving career.
I didn't know shows polls. I thought he just did the show.
Oh, I'm not a good tractor driver, Michael. So.
But I like hearing because that brings that X factor response to things. So what track is your nemesis track?
Schultz is a big deal, Mike. Don't let him fool you.
I just I don't focus. I'm not a good tractor driver. That's why my dad's going to drive my new tractor. I tried for years and it's just not who I am. So I love being involved with it. And I want to return the favor to my dad that he did for me. And now we got him the old high-tech redneck to go pull. And he's looking forward to jumping on it at TPC. So
yeah, cool. I can't wait to see that thing go, man.
Larry,
did you get voted in, Jason Schultz?
I'm a promoter's choice.
Promoter's choice. Okay.
Yeah. I tried to get invited into Louisville, but I found out that I'm not as big of a deal as I thought I was, Larry. I was pretty humbled at that little letter.
I'm just saying. But it was on display. What was the booth number, Michael?
3194. No, the Remedy just always say that. The Remedy debuted at Louisville.
And you shared it with Coltrane.
You don't have to follow up anything. Just be like, oh yeah, first place we ever took it, Louisville, Kentucky. Of course.
Was that outside or did they actually let it inside?
It was
indoor.
Oh. Hey Daniels, when you give them $10,000, they'll give you a booth and electricity and internet and everything. It's great.
Damn.
Yeah, but don't fool them. You had Coltrane energy drink pay part of that $10,000. Trust me.
Actually, I did not.
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Huh. We did that one on our own. We sold enough T-shirts to cover it, so I was pretty happy.
I apologize. You're a generous son of a gun. Yeah.
Larry's a heck of a puller. Larry, was there just one track over there for you that you just it got the best of Rich Wine?
Well, I was always so successful that no. In pulling 20 years, I had the most trouble with dry, hard tracks, whether it was single engine or twin engine or a turbine engine or a two-wheel drive truck I had or a super stock. I've always had trouble with dry, hard tracks, and that was always Terre Haute at the Vigo County Fairgrounds. All I could do was make a lot of dust there, no matter what combination I had in a mod class or a super stock class. But Terre Haute, I could not do well. I could set the sled because they'd know what not to do. But oh my God, yeah, everywhere else I really honestly was pretty successful. I like to think I took good notes. I read the track, and the next year I got back there, I knew what to do and what not to do, basic setup, which I think's half of it. And I know all you guys there probably on the screen take good notes, and that's how you do well. This is long before anybody heard of a data logger, but Mike takes good notes because it's a school teacher in him. But yeah, I'd say Terre Haute was always one that I don't care what I did, I'd make a lot of dust, and that was about it. But it was always dry when I ran there.
Good stuff. Well, guys, thanks for coming on tonight. John, Chris, Donnie, thank you for everything you did. Again, John, so proud of you, how you really, I felt, rallied social media to get into the Pullers Championship. You know, again, if people don't know what it is, we invited the top 3 trucks from the NTPA, the PPL, and the Outlaws. Or I think, top 3, and they had until the end of the year to accept their invite. And if they did not, then we turned the rest of it over to the fan vote. And that's really what put all this together. So we're excited to have all of you here, traveling over 2,000 miles to come out here to compete with us. And then, Jason, it's great to have you back in pulling. Obviously, 4-time Grand National champion. You're going to leave everybody something to be reckoned with. So can't wait to see you guys in about 3 weeks. It's going to be awesome.
Heck yeah. It's gonna be awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Michael, wrap it up. You're the boss.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Jason, thank you for coming on and just sharing your wealth of knowledge. We are super excited for you to make your debut, your re-debut back into truck and tractor pulling. Chris, John, Donnie, I can't wait to meet all of you guys. You're representing your organization. You're making your teams proud. You guys are doing awesome. West Coast Pulling is a big deal. And everybody who's been out there watching with us tonight, thank you so much for watching Let's Grow Pulling. We'll be back next Monday night.
Awesome. Thanks.
Let's make some
Thanks a
noise.
lot.
Good running. John Deere, Animal Deep Iowa coming up. We got one right behind you.